Hi, I am Mrs.K.Gladys. I am going to take the peripheral nervous system, which comes under the semester 1 and unit 4 chapter for the first semester students. So, under this topic, I am going to cover these chapters, that is classification of peripheral nervous system, structure and functions of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, origin and functions of spinal and cranial nerves. So this is about the nervous system. So our nervous system entirely controls or regulates the activities of the body, and it also in connection or it goes hand in hand with the endocrine system, which share the responsibility for maintaining the homeostasis of the human body. So the nervous system regulates the body activity by responding rapidly by the nerve impulse, and the endocrine system responds more slowly and not effectively by releasing the hormones. So it also responsible for our own perceptions, behavior, memories, and initiates voluntary and both involuntary movements. And we can classify the nervous system as the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So in the central nervous system, we are going to cover only the brain and the spinal cord. So the entire brain and the spinal cord comes under the central nervous system. In the peripheral nervous system, apart from the brain and the spinal cord, so whatever the nerves which connects the other parts of the body will comes under the peripheral nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system will be classified into autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system again is classified into sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So the somatic nervous system, which is a part of peripheral nervous system, will be divided into sensory input and motor input, in which the motor input means the nerves which carries the impulse from the brain to the other parts of the body, and the sensory input means the nervous system nerves which carries the impulse from other parts of the body to the brain. So let's concentrate on the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system comes under the autonomic nervous system. So here the parasympathetic nervous system controls all the involuntary movements of the body. Specifically, it controls the constriction of the pupils in the eye and stimulates the salivary secretion in the mouth, and constricts bronchi in the lungs, and then slows the heart rate, and stimulates the production of bile in the liver, and then stimulates the production of gastric juices in the stomach, and relaxes the intestinal muscles, and also increases the blood flow to the genitals. So it is responsible for the sexual arousal also. So the sympathetic nervous system, contrary to the parasympathetic nervous system, which functions simultaneously to the parasympathetic nervous system. That is, it dilates the pupil, it inhibits the saliva, it relaxes the bronchi, increases the heart rate, slows down the digestion, stimulates glucose, the release, constricts intestinal mucosa, muscles, and adrenal production. So it also reduces the blood flow to the genitals. So the difference between the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system is the sympathetic nervous system functions whenever the body is under stress, and also it is also named as flight and fight nervous system, or it responds to the flight and fight symptoms. And the parasympathetic nervous system, in contrary to the sympathetic nervous system, it is rest and breathe system. That is, it relaxes and it helps in the development of the whole body. So that's the major difference between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So this sympathetic, parasympathetic, the peripheral nervous system have the neurons as a unit, and the neurons is defined as a structural and functional unit of the nervous system. The neuron is similar to any other cells in the body, having nucleus and other organelles in the cytoplasm. So this is a typical structure of a neuron, which consists of dendrites in the head portion, and as a nucleus, and a cell body which consists of the nucleus, and there is a tail portion which is called as axon. This axon is covered with a myelin sheath. Some of the neurons will have this myelin which insulates the axon, that the impulse will not leak out of the neuron cells. Some of the cells are non-myelinate. So the neurons which has myelin is called as myelinated neurons, and the neurons which does not have the myelin is called as non-myelinated neurons. And also this neurons consist of the Schwann cells, rhodopharyngeal and axon terminals, where it is projected into different parts of the body.